Ward Jene Stroud here, and today I want to share with you my process of going from the photograph all the way to the image on paper that I'm going to paint. Some of the greatest advantages of using digital composition are being able to resize an image, then be able to flip that image to see it from a different point of view, and then reduce the values or put the values in values like you would a thumbnail sketch. So I'm going to be using an iPad today and a software or an app called Art Studio. It's a very inexpensive app, but it's incredibly powerful. And again, if you are still using photographs to paint from, I mean, that's okay, but the advantages to doing it digitally are just amazing, and I would love to share them with you. So let's go to the iPad and we'll do that now. All right, so this is Art Studio. It's a $4.99 app, and it's incredibly powerful. Now, just about any of the softwares out there that you use, or any of the drawing, sketching apps, are going to have these same basic fundamentals that I'm going to share with you today. Now, the first thing that you want to do anytime you start a new project is to make sure that the work surface that you're using is the same as the painting or the paper that you're going to be using in real life. That way, whatever you compose here will match whatever it is that you're actually really doing in the real world. So the first thing we always do is go to File and then say New, and it's going to ask us to create a piece of paper or a page or a layer to work on. Now, since I'm using a quarter sheet of watercolor paper, which is 11 inches by 15 inches, I'm going to create a page here that's 1100 pixels by 1500 pixels tall, so that it's the same ratio as my painting is going to be. So I'm going to say 1100 wide, 1500 tall, and I'm going to go ahead and push the Create button. And now you can see I have a piece of paper that looks just like my paper in real life. Now, how do I get my image onto this piece of paper so that I can compose it? I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to say Import. Now, in this particular program, you don't want to do the import from photos, because if you select the import from photos, it will bring a photograph in, but it'll change the size of the paper to match that photograph. And we've already worked to make sure that this is correct. So instead, we're going to say Import, and then Insert as a layer, and then it's going to ask me, well, what source would you like me to get this image from? I can get it from a camera, from iTunes, or paste from a clipboard, but I want to go to my photo gallery, and we all have photo galleries on our phones and our tablets. So I'm going to say Import from Photos. Here's all my photo galleries. I'm just going to select all photos, and here's the image that we're going to work on today. Now, this is a photograph I took of a little butterfly that happened to be flitting through a friend of mine's garden one morning, and this fellow was nice enough to hold still for a moment so I could take his picture. Now, in real life, if we had a photo like this, we might be going like this, telescoping back and forth to get a better idea of the detail. Maybe in your mind you change it a little bit, or maybe when you're drawing it you could change the angle. But I'm going to show you how to compose this digitally, and this is so powerful. And this is a very simple, and again, any program worth its salt will do this. I'm going to simply go to the Edit and Transform Layer option. And here I can move, scale, or rotate this image, or I call this the nuclear option, move, scale, and rotate. This does everything at once. So 99 times out of 100 will just select this, move, scale, and rotate. And now watch this. By pinching, I can enlarge my central figure, or the focal point, which is going to be, as with any living thing, always the eyes. And so we all know about the golden mean. You never want to put your center of interest right in the middle of your page. That would be pretty boring. So I can put the eyes in this corner. Maybe I could turn the butterfly and rotate it this way. I could put the eyes down here. Ooh, I kind of like that. That's a lovely composition. And I can move it back and forth as much as I want. And you know, maybe you want this to be a close-up. But just having the ability to do this and to look at it from different points of view and just to play with it in a non-invasive way. In other words, I'm not destroying my original photograph. I can do this all day long. I kind of like the butterfly at a little bit of an angle. And let's just fill the whole page with this fella. I also love the light on these flowers down here and the foliage in the background. And when we get to painting this, I'll share some amazing tips on how to get this effect in a very straightforward way. Anyway, this looks good to me, and you may compose this completely different, but I'm going to go ahead and say just apply this. And now this button here makes the menus go away. I've got my final image, and this is what I'm going to paint. But while we've got this guy here, let me show you a few other really fun things too. Now, a Western eye tends to read, we read from the left to the right. So we tend to like compositions or movements that go this way. For example, if you had a horse running across a field horizontally, if it was running from this direction, it might feel a little bit off. Whereas if you took that same horse running this way and you flip that image so that the horse was running this way instead, it's like the horse is asking you to follow it into the painting. Same with a stream or a country road. We tend to like to see them going in this direction as opposed to this direction. And maybe that's because we read left to right. But for whatever reason, it definitely is worth your time. And this is a super powerful tip to just take a moment and go to the layer here and select flip. And then I can flip this vertically, which wouldn't make a lot of sense in this case, but sometimes it does work. But we're going to flip this horizontally. And look at what a difference this is. Now, you have to give your eyes a moment to adjust to this. We have a little bit of prejudice when we're used to seeing something a certain way. So what I like to do, this little innocent looking button down here is one of the most powerful features of any program. This is the undo button. And by selecting undo, it will put the image back where it was before I flipped it. And the fun thing about this is you can now go back and forth and look at and do what we call A-Bing to see what the differences are and which one you like better. Now, this is nice, but to me, it seems like he's too close. And so I liked this image better when it was facing this way. But I strongly encourage you, when you're doing digital composition, to take a moment with any image and always flip it first, just to see. You will be absolutely amazed and thrilled at the results that you will get. It's an incredibly powerful tool. And speaking of incredibly powerful tools, I was talking earlier about putting the values in values. It's very important before you do a painting to do a thumbnail sketch, and I don't want to replace that with this tip, but this is going to support and to reinforce your value studies and your sketches and your thumbnail sketches by really showing you where your highlights and your shadows are. And again, this is all very easy. I call this slow tech because all the things I'm sharing with you today are only 1 or 2 or 3 clicks. So it's not, you don't have to have a degree in graphic design. This is all things that we can do. I mean, if we're FaceTiming our friends and keeping in touch on social media and sending text messages, this is definitely in your ballpark. So here we have an image, and I want to see where my highlights and shadows are. I simply go up here to adjust, and there's an option called posterize. And by selecting this option, it brings me to another screen that has a slider at the bottom that selects how many levels of color that I'm seeing, or levels of values. And at 256, it looks like a photograph, but watch what happens when we bring these levels down to 4, to 3, and then finally to 2. And at 2 levels, we really see where the highlights are and where the shadows or the dark shapes are. And seeing these shapes and having that contrast brought so powerfully into our view, into our eyes, is incredibly powerful and meaningful. And this will give you such an advantage when you go to paint this, when you've seen where these values are and how they relate to each other. Now, you don't have to leave it this way, so I'm just going to say cancel and go back to the photograph. Isn't it just fantastic that we have these tools available, and they're so easy to use? And I encourage you, if you've never done this, to just jump right in. It will give you amazing benefits and rewards. Let's go do the painting.